What's the good word, my nerds? Sarge here, back again. It's been way too long. Sorry I've been gone for quite a while. Work has been hectic, but here we are 5 days out from WoW Classic launching, and I gotta get one more video on the books before we dive back into the nostalgia, and we're all too busy to even watch YouTube because we're playing 8 to 10 hours a day of Classic WoW. So today's topic is going to be kind of an interesting one because we're all excited to go back to WoW, to the way it was in the early days when, you really had to work hard to earn your keep and you had to put in the hours to earn the items and achievements that not many other people had, and just even to do heroic dungeons was one hell of a venture for your first go-round. So, that's all good and well, and I'm as excited as you guys are to get back into all of that. But I wanted to kind of, not even really question, but just to put a seed in y'all's mind before you start playing as to a potential problem that you may have experiencing Classic WoW in the year 2019. All of the different challenges with Classic WoW have basically been covered ad nauseum at this point. How long the leveling process took, all the attunements just to be able to do dungeons and raids and all that, and how you had to work with your guild and other people out in the community, sometimes even just to do a quest. That's all been covered. But the one thing that I really haven't seen a really well-documented video on is how the readily availability of having YouTube and all of these resources at our fingertips this go-around is going to make the game so much more different if we allow it to. Now, obviously, it would be absurd to say something like, oh, let's everybody in the community make a truce not to Google something like, where is Mancrick's wife located, or where is the entrance to this dungeon, But I would encourage players to not immediately go to Google and YouTube every time you're trying to do something out in the world. I'm one of the folks out there who gets swept up in the nostalgia of some of the older video games as much as anybody. And we really got to remind ourselves that smartphones weren't even available at the time that World of Warcraft launched. Now you can literally be playing World of Warcraft and have your smartphone right next to you and be Google searching or asking Alexa or asking Siri for information on how to do a dungeon or how to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish while you're literally still playing the game. It doesn't even involve what you used to have to do, which would be to minimize your World of Warcraft. And, I think even back then, most of us were only playing on single monitors. If you had a gaming PC with dual monitors, you were a big shot back in the day. And so you actually had to minimize your World of Warcraft window and then go into a browser, and then most of the YouTube videos on how to do the stuff were garbage. And so a lot of times you'd be better off reading articles and write-ups on how to accomplish what it was you were trying to accomplish. And so that's where the real living community environment came into play, because a lot of times you were better asking your guildmates or your friends. Of course, all of us had to endure the rite of passage, which was in the form of asking trade chat for any reliable information. You more than likely would venture to a place that would get you killed, or somehow disjoin your guild or perform some other task that could potentially get you banned from World of Warcraft thanks to the assholes on trade chat. But aside from that, the sense of community was really great when people were working together and helping one another and giving information to those who had not been as far as they had yet. So essentially what really worries me, for even the most nostalgic players who want to do this thing right, is that we're all so ingrained now for the instant gratification and just grabbing our cell phones for instant answers. How many of us are going to be able to play World of Warcraft and actually discover and rediscover things that we had to back in the day just through trial and error and working as a team with our friends in the game? And I could be mistaken, but, I've heard a lot of people out in the community say they've joined the World of Warcraft community since well after Classic had come and gone, and they're looking forward to playing it in its raw form for the first time. And so I really hope that group of people doesn't ruin their experience by just Googling their way through every single quest. Because if they do that, the only way that they're going to even have any semblance of the feeling of community that classic WoW players had will be when they're running some type of an event that requires a group, like a raid or a dungeon or some type of battleground. But you know, so much more than just those things required you to work with your guild and to work with other players in the game back in the day, because not everybody knew where every single thing was at and everything that needed to happen during your progression. And that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave this one, you guys. I wanted this to be more of kind of an open forum type video. I mean, obviously, there's not a lot of give and take on YouTube. You make your comments and, you know, I try to respond to those the best I can. But I more or less just wanted to throw this idea out there and hopefully get some comments back from y'all on what you think, you know, is going to happen this go-around with Google and YouTube and all these different forms of information we have at our fingertips on our mobile devices being out there. How is that going to impact World of Warcraft Classic and the players who are trying to relive that nostalgia that we saw some 15 years ago? Anyways, guys, like I said, 5 days out. I hope to see y'all in the game. Until then, Sarge out.